blast from the past. Remember when you laughed.
Hello and welcome to Big Kids TV Podcast, the show where we take a nostalgic deep dive into the children's television shows that made our childhood so magical. I'm Chris, and today we're rolling, quite literally, into the colourful and quirky world of Chorlton and the Wheelies. A British animated gem from the 1970s, this show was filled with an unforgettable cast of characters and a very unique way of getting around. So sit back, relax, and let's take a spin through Wheelyworld. Chorlton and the Wheelies first aired on our screens on September the 26th, 1976, and kept us entertained until December the 17th, 1979. Created by Brian Cosgrove and Mark Hall, the show was a product of Cosgrove Hall Productions, the same team behind other legendary British animations like Danger Mouse and Count Duckula. If you remember those, you know we're in for something special. This series aired on ITV and delivered 40 12-minute episodes of pure imaginative fun. The world of Chorlton and the Wheelies was unique in so many ways, but one of the biggest standouts? The Wheelies themselves. Set in Wheelyworld, the residents, called Wheelies, didn't have legs. Instead, they zoomed around on 3 wheels. Their front wheels looked like feet, and a smaller one at the back acted like a tail. But life in Wheelyworld wasn't all smooth rolling. There was trouble brewing in the form of Fenella the Kettle Witch. Now, if you grew up watching this show, you'll definitely remember Fenella. Her Welsh accent, her oversized kettle home called Sprout Hall, and her absolute hatred of happiness. Yes, that's right. She despised joy and spent all her time trying to make life miserable for the Wheelies. Lucky for them, a very special newcomer arrived to turn things around. Enter Chorlton, the happiness dragon. A lovable, clueless, and incredibly cheerful dragon who hatched from an egg in the very first episode. With his thick Lancashire accent and unwavering positivity, Chorlton was a perfect counter for Fenella's gloom. The best part? He had no idea that she was actually the villain. To him, she was just a little old lady, and he treated her with the same warmth he showed for everyone else. Wherever Chorlton went, happiness followed, making him the Wheelies' accidental hero. His ability to undo Fenella's spells completely by accident drove her mad, and that made for some hilarious moments throughout the series. The show had an ensemble cast of quirky and unforgettable characters. Alongside Chorlton and Fenella, we had Zuma, the speed-loving Wheelie, who zapped around with goggles and a flying cap. Jenny, a kind-hearted Wheelie girl with ginger hair who had a crush on Chorlton. And King Otto and Queen Doris, the royal couple of Wheelyworld, each with their own eccentric style. Otto with his giant red nose and bow tie, and Doris with her purple hair and clown-like grin. Then there were Fenella's sidekicks. Like Claptrap von Spilderbeans, a grumpy German spellbook who helped concoct her evil plans. And O'Reilly, the one-eyed telescope, who gave her magical advice with an Irish twist. We also had Clifford, Fenella's giant son, who was so tall that only his legs ever appeared on screen. And Pablo Perdito, the world-famous Latin American dancing duck. Yes, Chorlton and the Wheelies had its very own dancing duck. This mix of characters made Chorlton and the Wheelies not only fun to watch, but a truly one-of-a-kind show. Brian Cosgrove once shared that the idea for the show came from a dream in which he saw heads on wheels. It sounds like it could have been a nightmare, but history tells us otherwise, as it became the foundations for this beloved classic. Chorlton and the Wheelies was named after Chorlton, a district in the UK, where the animation studio Cosgrove Hall was based. One of the most fascinating things about Chorlton and the Wheelies was how it was made. The stop-motion animation was brilliant for its time, but animating characters with legs can be tricky. So Cosgrove Hall came up with this brilliant idea of giving them wheels instead. It made them easier to animate, while adding a whole new layer of charm to the show. Even Fenella's teleportation was a clever trick. It meant the animators didn't have to create walking sequence for her, making the production smoother and more efficient. This kind of creativity and problem solving was a staple of Cosgrove Hall's work, and it's why their shows are still loved today. Brian Cosgrove designed the characters himself, and in an interview, he explained that Chorlton and most of the Wheelies were given round features to make them appear cute and kind. In contrast, Fenella the Witch had a long face and high cheekbones to create an instantly sinister look. This clever design choice helped establish each character's personality at a glance. Though it aired over 40 years ago, Chorlton and the Wheelies remain a cult classic. It was sold to multiple countries, and its unique mix of comedy, quirky storytelling, and distinctive animation style of its time made it a standout show of the 1970s. And let's not forget the theme song. Written and sung by Joe Griffiths, it's one of those catchy tunes that you just can't get out of your head. Oh, and speaking of voices, Joe Lynch, a legendary Irish actor, provided every single voice on the show. That's right, every Wheelie, witch, and dragon you heard was him. So what made Chorlton and the Wheelies so special? Was it the unforgettable characters, the creativity and animation, the hilarious storylines? Honestly, it was all of the above. It had that perfect mix of silliness, charm, and heart, making it a show that kids loved and adults still appreciate today. Whether you watched it in the 1970s or discovered it later on, Chorlton and the Wheelies is a true classic that deserves to be remembered. That's all for today's episode of Big Kids TV Podcast. If you liked this nostalgic trip, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And let me know, what are your favourite memories of Chorlton and the Wheelies? Find me on social media, and let's keep this conversation going.
Big Kids TV Podcast, bringing back the blast from the past. Remember